Before there were empires. Before there were kings. There was a man who descended from the heavens to shape a nation. The Yoruba people stand as one of the most historically rich and culturally influential ethnic groups in West Africa, with a heritage that has spread far beyond the boundaries of Nigeria into the Americas and the Caribbean. Their story is a unique tapestry woven from mythology, oral tradition, and historical fact, beginning with the enigmatic figure of Oduduwa, believed by many to be the progenitor of the Yoruba civilization. Through centuries of political innovation, military strength, artistic excellence, and religious depth, the Yoruba rose from a cluster of sacred city-states to a formidable imperial power, most notably the Oyo Empire. This trajectory from mythic origins to empire building provides an essential lens through which to understand not only West African history, but the broader African diaspora and global Black identity. At the heart of Yoruba identity lies Ile-Ife, revered as the cradle of creation and the spiritual capital of the Yoruba world. According to oral tradition, Oduduwa descended from the heavens to this sacred land, bringing with him the tools to create earth and establish the first human settlement. Whether seen as a divine figure or a historical leader, Oduduwa's legacy is deeply embedded in Yoruba kingship, cosmology, and societal organization. Every Yoruba king, or Oba, traces their lineage to him, anchoring political legitimacy in mythic ancestry. This spiritual genealogy binds together diverse Yoruba communities across centuries and geographies. But the Yoruba story is not confined to myth alone. Historical evidence reveals a people whose city-states, such as Ife, Oyo, Ijebu, and Egba, developed sophisticated systems of governance, advanced metallurgy and art, and complex religious and philosophical systems long before colonial contact. The city of Ife, for example, flourished between the 11th and 15th centuries, producing naturalistic bronze and terracotta sculptures that stunned Western scholars and challenged Eurocentric narratives of African primitivism. In time, the political organization of the Yoruba would culminate in the rise of the powerful Oyo Empire, which emerged in the savanna lands to the north. With its well-organized cavalry and federated system of governance, Oyo became one of the most influential pre-colonial African empires, commanding respect from neighboring states and facilitating extensive trade across West Africa. This introduction to Yoruba history is more than a recounting of past glories. It is a celebration of a people whose culture, resilience, and adaptability have allowed them to thrive in diverse environments, from the forests of Nigeria to the streets of Salvador, Bahia, and the neighborhoods of Brooklyn. Their religious systems have survived centuries of enslavement and forced conversion, finding new life in diaspora expressions such as Santeria, Candomblé, and Vodun. The rise of the Yoruba is, ultimately, a story of continuity, of how a people rooted in mythic origins built enduring institutions, shaped regional politics, and transcended borders through the power of culture, belief, and memory. The origins of the Yoruba people are preserved in a blend of sacred myth and oral history, with the figure of Oduduwa standing at the intersection of both. To understand the rise of the Yoruba, one must begin with this foundational narrative, where divine intervention and human agency combine to shape the destiny of a people. According to Yoruba cosmology, the world began as a vast expanse of water, empty and chaotic. The supreme being, Olodumare, delegated the task of creation to Obatala, a primordial deity. However, due to a lapse in judgment, or a bout of intoxication, Obatala failed in his mission. It was Oduduwa who ultimately descended from the heavens with a chain, a cockerel, and a calabash of earth. Landing at Ile-Ife, he poured the earth onto the waters, and the cockerel scattered it to form solid ground, marking the divine creation of the world. This act established Ile-Ife as the sacred origin of the Yoruba and the center of their universe. Beyond its mythical dimensions, the story of Oduduwa also has historical implications. Some scholars have argued that Oduduwa may have been a real person, a powerful leader or migrant from the northeast, possibly from the Middle East or Upper Nile regions, who settled in Ile-Ife and established dominance. His arrival may have marked the fusion of earlier indigenous populations with incoming groups, leading to the rise of a new socio-political and religious order. The symbolism of his descent can thus be read both spiritually and historically, as the arrival of civilization in the Yoruba heartland. Oduduwa's legacy continued through his descendants, many of whom became founders of the major Yoruba kingdoms. According to tradition, he had several children or grandchildren, including Oranian, who played a pivotal role in founding both the Oyo Empire and the Benin kingdom. These offspring dispersed from Ile-Ife to establish new polities, each taking with them the religious and political institutions of their ancestral home. This diaspora helped spread a unified cultural identity across the Yoruba world, anchored in common origin myths, ritual practices, and language. Ile-Ife itself emerged as a sacred city-state, governed by the Oni, who was seen as a spiritual heir to Oduduwa. The city became a center of artistry, producing exquisite bronze and terracotta sculptures between the 11th and 15th centuries, which displayed remarkable naturalism and technical mastery. These artifacts testify to a civilization that was not only spiritually rich but also technologically advanced and artistically sophisticated. Thus, the origin of the Yoruba is not merely a tale of divine descent but a dynamic convergence of mythology, migration, and cultural synthesis. The figure of Oduduwa remains both a symbol of Yoruba unity and a reminder of their deeply rooted traditions, serving as the mythic cornerstone for the rise of one of Africa's most influential civilizations. Following the legendary dispersal of Oduduwa's descendants from Ile-Ife, the Yoruba landscape transformed into a network of independent yet culturally connected city-states, each with its own ruler, institutions, and identity. These emerging polities, such as Oyo, Igbu, Egba, Oun, Ketu, and others, formed the foundational political structure of the Yoruba people and demonstrated an early mastery of governance, urbanization, and diplomacy. Each city-state, or Ilu, operated under a monarchical system led by an Oba, often believed to be a direct descendant of Oduduwa. This divine ancestry legitimized their rule and provided a shared sense of origin across the Yoruba world. The Oba held both sacred and political authority, but his power was not absolute. Yoruba governance was notably decentralized and consultative, characterized by councils of chiefs, elders, religious figures, and secret societies who served as checks on royal power. For instance, in Oyo, one of the most developed Yoruba states, the king, Alafin, was advised and restrained by the Oyo Mesi, a council of powerful noblemen. In times of crisis, the council could even compel the Alafin to commit ritual suicide if deemed unfit to rule. This system of checks and balances reflects a sophisticated political culture with mechanisms to prevent tyranny and ensure accountability, remarkable for a pre-modern African society. Religion played a central role in state formation and governance. The influence of the Orisa pantheon was deeply embedded in the social fabric of each city-state, with temples, priests, and festivals contributing to civic identity. Ifa divination, practiced by trained Babalawo, was a key institution guiding decisions from personal matters to affairs of state. The cities became centers of both spiritual authority and cultural production. Urbanization in Yoruba polities was also striking. Many cities were laid out with planned marketplaces, royal palaces, compounds, and defensive walls. Archaeological evidence from sites like Ile-Ife, Oyo Isle, and Igbu reveals high levels of organization, trade activity, and artistic output. These cities were hubs of commerce, linking the forest regions to the northern savanna and enabling interaction with neighboring groups such as the Nup, Hausa, and later, Europeans along the coast. Despite their autonomy, the Yoruba city-states recognized shared traditions, festivals, and a common language, with dialectical variations. They also engaged in both cooperation and rivalry, forming alliances, intermarrying among royal families, and at times waging wars for territorial or economic advantage. This balance between unity and independence created a dynamic yet resilient cultural network. In sum, the formation of Yoruba polities reflects a period of remarkable political and cultural development. Rooted in mythic origins but grounded in practical governance, the Yoruba created a civilization of city-states that preserved autonomy while fostering a shared identity, laying the groundwork for future unification under empires like Oyo and shaping the enduring legacy of the Yoruba nation. Among the various Yoruba polities that emerged after the dispersal from Ile-Ife, none attained the scale, influence, and organizational complexity of the Oyo Empire. At its height between the 17th and early 19th centuries, Oyo stood as one of the most powerful pre-colonial empires in West Africa, commanding vast territories, controlling major trade routes, and developing a political system admired even by European observers. According to tradition, the foundation of Oyo is attributed to Oranmiyan, a legendary prince said to be a descendant of Oduduwa. Oranmiyan is credited not only with founding Oyo but also with extending Yoruba influence eastward to Benin. His legacy set the stage for a dynasty of rulers known as the Ile-Ife, a title meaning owner of the palace, who presided over a centralized, yet federated empire. The success of Oyo was built on several pillars, foremost among them its military strength, particularly its cavalry. Situated in the savannah region north of the forest belt, Oyo had the geographical advantage of breeding horses, a rarity in much of southern West Africa. The empire's cavalry units, led by the powerful Ara Ona Kakanfo, supreme military commander, allowed Oyo to expand its territory rapidly and enforce its dominance over vassal states and neighbors. Politically, Oyo developed a unique system of checks and balances. The Ile-Ife ruled from the capital, Oyo Isle, but his power was not absolute. He was advised and restrained by the Oyo Messi, a council of 7 principal nobles who could depose him if he ruled unjustly. This act was carried out symbolically by presenting the king with an empty calabash or parrot's eggs, an invitation to commit ritual suicide. This institutionalized accountability helped stabilize the empire and ensured rulers remained answerable to the people. Economically, Oyo thrived as a hub in the trans-Saharan trade network, exchanging goods such as kola nuts, leather, textiles, and slaves with northern regions and later with European traders along the Atlantic coast. The empire also collected tributes from subordinate kingdoms, increasing its wealth and reinforcing its status as the regional hegemon. Oyo's cultural influence was equally significant. Though a military and political force, it was also a center of Yoruba language, customs, and religious practices. Many Yoruba towns adopted Oyo's administrative models, and the empire helped standardize the worship of Orishas, particularly Awith Sango, the god of thunder and a deified former Ile-Ife. However, no empire lasts forever. By the early 19th century, internal conflicts, succession crises, and pressure from external forces, especially the Islamic jihads from the north and growing influence of European colonial interests, led to the gradual disintegration of the Oyo Empire. Still, its legacy endured. The administrative sophistication, military prowess, and cultural unity fostered under Oyo played a critical role in shaping the modern Yoruba identity, and left an indelible mark on West African history. The rise of the Yoruba was not solely a political and military phenomenon. It was deeply intertwined with a vibrant cultural and religious life that shaped the identity of the people and sustained their societies over centuries. The Yoruba civilization is renowned for its sophisticated artistic achievements, complex spiritual systems, and social structures that emphasized community, respect, and balance. At the core of Yoruba culture is the religion of the Orishas, a pantheon of deities who personify natural forces and human virtues. These Orishas, such as Ogun, god of iron and war, Sango, god of thunder and lightning, and Yemoja, mother of waters, play a pivotal role in daily life, influencing agriculture, politics, health, and family relations. Worship involves elaborate rituals, music, dance, and festivals that foster social cohesion and collective identity. Central to religious practice is Ifa divination, a complex system managed by trained priests known as Babalawo. Using a corpus of verses and a divination tray, the Babalawo interprets the will of the gods and ancestors, offering guidance on everything from personal decisions to state governance. This divination system symbolizes the Yoruba belief in destiny, and the possibility of influencing one's future through ritual and moral conduct. Yoruba society is traditionally organized into a hierarchical but flexible structure, balancing authority with communal consultation. The Oba, king, stands as a political and spiritual leader, but power is shared with councils of chiefs, elders, and secret societies like the Agboni, who oversee justice and maintain ethical standards. This system fosters accountability and respects tradition, ensuring that no one person dominates unchecked. The Yoruba are also celebrated for their artistic excellence. The city of Ile-Ife produced some of the earliest and most remarkable African sculptures, naturalistic bronze heads, terracotta figures, and intricate beadwork that reveal advanced metallurgical skills and deep symbolic meaning. These artworks served religious, political, and ceremonial functions, reflecting the close link between creativity and spirituality. Music and dance permeate Yoruba life, accompanying rites of passage, festivals, and social gatherings. Drums such as the talking drum, dundun, communicate messages and rhythms that connect participants to the spiritual world and their ancestors. These traditions have survived centuries and influenced African diasporic cultures in the Americas, seen in practices like Santeria in Cuba, Candomblé in Brazil, and Vodun in Haiti. Socially, Yoruba families emphasize extended kinship networks, communal responsibilities, and respect for elders. Age-grade associations and guilds organize labor and social activities, reinforcing solidarity and mutual support. Oral literature, proverbs, poetry, folktales, transmits wisdom and history across generations, ensuring cultural continuity. The religious and cultural vitality of the Yoruba played a crucial role in uniting disparate city-states under common customs and beliefs, even amid political rivalries. Moreover, during the transatlantic slave trade, enslaved Yoruba carried these traditions abroad, where they adapted and flourished, preserving Yoruba spirituality across oceans and centuries. In summary, Yoruba culture and religion are foundational to their historical rise and enduring influence. The intertwining of governance, spirituality, artistry, and social order created a resilient civilization whose legacy continues to inspire millions in Africa and throughout the world. The story of the Yoruba people is a remarkable journey from mythic beginnings to imperial prominence and enduring cultural influence. Rooted in the sacred narratives surrounding Oduduwa and Ile-Ife, the Yoruba civilization demonstrates how mythology and history can intertwine to form a powerful foundation for identity and statehood. The rise of Yoruba city-states, culminating in the establishment of the mighty Oyo Empire, reveals a people adept at governance, military strategy, and cultural creativity. Despite challenges such as internal rivalries, the trauma of the transatlantic slave trade, and the disruptions of European colonialism, the Yoruba have maintained a vibrant cultural and spiritual life. Their religion, arts, language, and social structures have not only survived but flourished both within West Africa and across the African diaspora, contributing significantly to global culture. The resilience and adaptability of the Yoruba are testament to a civilization that is deeply rooted yet dynamically evolving. The political institutions developed by the Yoruba, characterized by checks and balances, community consultation, and reverence for tradition, reflect sophisticated understandings of leadership and governance that predate many modern systems. The legacy of these institutions continues to influence Nigerian politics and traditional authority today. Furthermore, Yoruba culture's influence extends into literature, music, and religious practice worldwide, offering rich narratives and spiritual frameworks that speak to universal themes of creation, morality, and human connection. Their stories and symbols continue to inspire artists, scholars, and communities seeking to reclaim and celebrate African heritage. In essence, the rise of the Yoruba is not simply a historical account but a living legacy, a testament to the power of cultural memory and identity. It reminds us of the importance of preserving indigenous histories and recognizing their ongoing contributions to the world's cultural mosaic. As modern Yoruba society moves forward in an increasingly globalized world, it continues to balance tradition with innovation, drawing strength from its illustrious past while engaging with contemporary challenges and opportunities. The Yoruba journey from Oduduwa to empire and beyond remains a profound example of African ingenuity, endurance, and creativity, one that enriches not only the continent but humanity as a whole.